You just had a bad game. And right now, you have to decide if it goes from bad to worse or from bad to better. And most athletes don't even realize that this is a key decision point because most just react out of frustration and they end up carrying that into the next game. The next thing you know, they end up in a slump. And the advice I'm going to give you in this video isn't just some suck it up surface level advice because it never works. What I'm going to give you is a 3-step framework to handle a bad game in a way you've never been taught before. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. But firstly, I need you to realize where you're at right now. You just stepped off a game that didn't go your way. This is the crossroads. You can let that game define you and keep rolling downhill, or you can stop it before it turns into a slump. So if I were to put money on it, you're fresh out of a bad game right now. Right? Because you wouldn't be watching this if you weren't fresh out of a bad game. So I understand what you're feeling right now. You probably feel pissed. You probably feel frustrated and just down bad. Listen, I get it because I was you. When I played, I was definitely a crash out. I was definitely down bad after bad games. So I wish I had the information I was giving you right now because there was none. All right? But the point I'm trying to make is you're at a crossroads. You have to realize that whatever decisions you make from this point is either going to lead you down a path to where it gets worse or a path to where it gets better. Right? And most athletes are not conscious of this, which is why they end up in slumps, which is why they end up playing worse. And it just feels like they can't get out of that downward spiral that they're in. Right? And with the information that I'm going to give you in this video, you're going to be able to walk down this path of greatness. Right? Taking it from bad to better. All right? I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Don't worry. But firstly, I need you to understand the PP loop. All right? What you believe is what you see. Your mind then projects that belief back into reality, which makes you keep experiencing more of the same. And most athletes don't even realize this. They're not even aware of this loop, right? Because obviously when you're fresh out of a game, you just naturally hold a negative perception. You just feel bad and just only see the negative things. Like, oh, I did this bad. Oh, I feel like shit, whatever, whatever. The next thing you know, you project those types of thoughts and those types of feelings into your next game, and then you play bad. Right? It's just common sense. If you feel bad, you're going to play bad. If you see bad, you're going to play bad. Right? It just makes sense. Until you change your perception, the projection will never change. Okay? I need you to realize that. Say it with me. Until the perception changes, my projection won't. Until my perception changes, my performance won't. Right? So you need to knock yourself out this loop. And most of you don't even realize that you're in this loop. And which is why you keep walking on the path from bad to worse. I guess another example I can give you of the PP loop outside of sports is like having a bad day or a stretch of bad days or maybe even a couple bad weeks, right? So for example, let's say you wake up one day and you stub your toe like really bad, right? And now your perception of that is negative. Like, oh, fuck, like that shit hurts so bad. Today's going to be a bad day. Like I just started my day. Today's going to be horrible, right? And because of that's your perception, you're only going to see and feel the negative things. Right? So therefore, that's what you're going to project and that's what you're going to experience. So now after you stub your toe, now you go to take your daily morning shit, right? And now when you take a shit, then there's no toilet paper, right? And then your perception is the same thing. Like, oh, I knew today was going to be a bad day. I know it's going to be horrible. The next thing you know, you're projecting another bad thing. Oh, now your charger doesn't work. Oh, now your car won't start. And it just goes from bad to worse. You guys following me? And in order, like I said, in order to change your perception, you have to change your projection. You have to break this loop. And now I'm going to show you how. Now, this is step 1, transcend. But before we get into that, everything that I'm teaching you, all the principles that I'm teaching you so far, like even the PP loop, all comes from this book, Outsmarting Reality. Can you guys see it? Written by Narrow Knowledge. He basically explains the link from mind to reality. Right? And he's helped over hundreds of thousands of people. You can look him up. And I've applied all his teachings and all his principles and basically conceptualized it for you guys, for athletes. All right? So step 1 being transcend. Right? The concept. Transcendence means stepping outside of the experience instead of being trapped inside it. You become the observer, not the identity. Don't react to nor judge the situation. So, like I said earlier, you're probably feeling hella shitty right now. And you probably feel like you're in the midst of chaos, that you're trapped in the moment. Reliving that same bad play, reliving that same bad game over and over again, conjuring up and feeling those same emotions over and over again. Right? It probably feels like you're just seeing red. Like it's a saying for a reason. Because when you're seeing red, you're pissed off and you're only seeing the negative things. Right? And your vision is narrow. You have tunnel vision. Right? You have to rise above these emotions and stop letting it have power over you. Because when you rise above these emotions, you gain perspective. Right? You'll be able to see more clearly when you're not seeing red. Right? Because when you're seeing, like I said, when you're seeing red, you have tunnel vision. And when you're not pissed off anymore, It widens your perspective. You'll be able to see more, right? Because if you try to take action, if you try to do things while you're still pissed off, while you're in the midst of chaos, you're going to make everything worse, right? You're going to be reacting, not responding, which is something I'm going to talk about later on in this video, which is a really important step. All right. And it's essentially going to leave you in that loop. It's not going to help anything. All right. So I'm going to essentially teach you guys how to put this into practice. So after a bad game, you have to rise above the emotions of frustration, fear, and anger. Don't react. Don't judge. See them for what they are. The moment you hold this higher perspective, the emotions lose their grip and you free yourself to move forward. So after a bad game from now on, or even right now, I want you to not react or not judge. Okay? Because when you react or judge, it's going to piss you off. It's going to put you in these emotions of frustration, fear, and anger. And like I said earlier, it's just going to make you see red. It's only going to make you see the negative things and just feel negative things, right? Therefore, or compared to when you do transcend above these emotions, you'll be able to see the positive. You'll be able to see what can actually help you, right? So let's say you're watching film and you don't take the time to transcend above these emotions first. You're only going to see, oh, I fucked up on this play. I'm trash. Oh, I did it like this when I wasn't supposed to. I'm a horrible player. Right? But once you transcend these emotions, once you decide not to react or to not judge after a bad game, you'll be able to see like, oh, like that's something I could work on in practice. Oh, that's something I could, you guys get what I'm saying? So that's what I want you guys to do. After a bad game, don't react or judge, all right? Look at it for what it is. And I need you to become the observer, not the identifier, right? So after a bad game, don't say, oh, I'm fucking trash. Like, I hate this game. I'm horrible. I need you to take a step back and step into that observation perspective of like, okay, I had a bad game. Like, why did I have a bad game? What's making me feel like this? You get what I'm saying? I need you guys to take that perspective moving forward, because if you identify it, it's only going to make you feel these things, and it's going to make you play even worse. All right? Now, after you transcend these emotions, after you stop letting it have power over you, now I need you to move on to the next step. Step 2, transmute. And by the way, if you're a high-level athlete that struggles with anything that I'm talking about or overcomes with performance anxiety in general, then click the link in the description below. Like, I would love to help you. All right? Now, step 2, the concept. Every situation has two sides of the same coin, the hard side and the good side. Where you put your focus decides how it feels and what it becomes. So I need you to understand this concept, that there will always be two sides of the same coin. Each thing will forever have an opposite, okay? Like, there will always be a good side and there will always be a bad side. Like, those are opposites right there, good and bad. Two sides of the same coin, the same exact thing. All right? Like, the other side of fear is courage. The other side of disappointment is growth. The other side is failure is opportunity. Okay? I need you to understand that. And I need you to realize this, because the things that you see so negative, there's a positive side to it. There's an other side of that coin. All right? And now that you've transcended these emotions, now I want you to focus on the good side. And I'm going to teach you how in practice. Now, once you've risen above the emotions, flip the coin. Instead of calling the game frustrating or demeaning, ask what's the good in this. By shifting your focus to the good, the same event stops draining you and starts feeling you. So now that you've transcended these emotions of frustration and just disappointment, now you'll be able to see the good in your bad game. Okay? Because like I've explained already, I can't stress this enough. If you don't transcend these emotions in step 1, you'll still be only seeing the negative shit. You'll still only be seeing red, and it's just gonna keep pissing you off. Right? You need to be able to get through step 1 and come to a state of neutrality to where when you think of that bad game, it doesn't make you feel negative anymore. Or just you're either neutral or makes you feel good. Right? And then once you get there, you need to ask, what's the good in this? Right? Because like I said earlier, the principle or the concept, there's two sides of the same coin. There's good in your bad game, right? So I need you to think of your bad game. Think of that bad play you made and realize the good in it. Like, there is a good in everything. So let's take an example outside of sports, right? So let's say somebody gets fired from their job tomorrow, right? And obviously that's horrible. And in the moment, they feel just anguish and just fearful because they don't know what they're going to do, right? But essentially what they decide to do is decide to start their own business, okay? And essentially, it just made them super successful. And looking back at it now from a different perspective, now that they've transcended these emotions and they're in a different state, they're able to look back and see the good on this side, or the good out of that situation. You get what I'm saying? Because before, in the moment, when they got fired from their job, they were just hating life. They were just like, oh, fuck, like, why did this happen to me? But now, like in the future, because they didn't get fired, if they didn't get fired from their job, they wouldn't have that same business. So now taking it back to sports with this analogy, now I want you to go back into your film. Look at that bad play, look at that bad game or whatever, right? And find the good in it, because there's good in it. You just have to find it. You just have to focus on it, because like I said, there's two sides of the same coin, okay? There's like the saying goes, a glass half full and a glass half empty. All right, there's a good in this bad play, in that bad game that you had. You just have to find it. Okay, no matter how bad it may seem. And the next thing you know, like in the future or whatever, you'll realize like, damn, if I didn't have this bad game or this bad play, it wouldn't have taught me XYZ, or to do it this way or this certain way. You guys get what I'm saying? Now, let's move on to the next step. Now that you have found the good in these things, now I need you to transform, right? Now, the concept, transformation is choosing to respond instead of react. When you react with frustration, anger, or despair, you glue yourself to your old reality, your old performance. But when you take the time to respond with intention, you step into your new self. Now, you guys need to understand the difference between reacting and responding. Because after a bad game, most of you guys react. And reacting is just reacting emotionally, not taking the time to step back and realize how you're thinking, acting, and feeling. So right after a bad game, you start thinking negative, like, oh, I fucking suck. You throw your phone at the ground and you start cussing out your teammates, whatever. That's reacting. Responding is being intentional with your decisions, being intentional with how you react, being intentional with your reaction. That's a great way to put it. Okay, you actually take this time and give yourself perspective of, all right, like, how am I thinking right now? How am I feeling right now? All right, now that I've taken those two things into consideration, this is how I should respond. You get what I'm saying? Now that you guys understand that, let's put this into practice. So, after a bad game, ask yourself, how would the athlete I want to become respond right now? Then do exactly that. Whether it's staying composed, focusing on solutions, or moving on without judgment. Okay? Now, let me ask you this. Does a caterpillar do what a butterfly does? No. Obviously, a caterpillar just walks on the damn tree or the stick or whatever, and a butterfly flies. They do two different separate things. But essentially, at one point, they were the same thing, all right? The caterpillar evolved into the butterfly, all right? And your old self will evolve into your new self, all right? And the point I'm trying to make, essentially, is how would your future self respond in this situation? Ask yourself that. So after you've had a bad game, ask yourself, all right, how would my ideal athlete self respond to this situation? Would they be thinking, acting, and feeling with the way I want to react, or do I need to do it this way? All right, I need you to ask yourself that, okay? And doing it this way keeps you from falling into that loop, okay? Because more specifically, after a bad game, you normally have the same thoughts, have the same actions, and the same emotions, right? But if you think, act, and feel the same way after every bad game, you can't expect a different result. You get what I'm saying? So you have to change how you think, how you act, and how you feel, and if you want something different, all right? Just logical, common fucking sense, all right? So I need you to think from the perspective of your future self, your ideal self. How would they think, act, and feel after this bad game or this bad play? All right? Now, so this is what it looks like in real time. I'm going to use myself for an example. All right, so let's say I dropped the game-winning touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. And just like anybody else, it would make me feel fucking horrible. All right? So I would probably feel emotional after the game, feeling frustrated, feeling disappointed, just pissed off at myself, just like anybody else, right? So knowing the knowledge that I have now, though, this is how I would approach that same situation. I would firstly transcend these emotions, right? So immediately after the game, right? I'm not going to react, and I'm not going to judge myself. I'm not going to become the identifier. And what that looks like is I'm not going to be telling myself, oh, I fucking hate myself. Like, how the fuck do you drop that? Like, your ass, whatever, right? Whatever you'd be telling yourself, right? And become the observer instead. Rather than thinking those things, think to yourself, like, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? Like, what emotions are coming up? Like, what thoughts are in my head? All right. And then you'll be able to neutralize it faster, just naturally, right? Because you're not identifying with these things, right? You won't be seeing red for too long, right? Because a lot of people, essentially, like I said, they just react. And then because they're reacting, it's just making everything worse. You get what I'm saying? And I'll just be spending more time within rather than without. Like, I will not be talking to nobody. I will not be, definitely not on social media, because that's where you're gonna get cooked. All right, I'll be spending time within myself, becoming the observer, right? And until I get into a state of neutrality, however long that takes me, right? Then once I be in the state of neutrality, once I transcend these emotions and take power over it, I will transmute this energy, right? Because like I said earlier, there'll always be two sides of the same coin. The things that I'm thinking that are bad right now, there's a good side to it. I just have to find it. But now that I've transcended these emotions, now my perspective is broadened. Now I'll be able to see it, right? So now I'll look back at my Super Bowl film tape and realize, like, oh fuck, I dropped that pass because I didn't work on my over the shoulder catches. You know what I'm saying? And now, what's it called? Now I have something to work on. Now I found the good out of this situation. So now that I've transmuted this energy, now it's time to transform, right? Because like I said, a caterpillar doesn't do what a butterfly does, even though they were both the same thing at one point, right? My old self wouldn't do what my new self would do. So I would ask myself, how would my ideal self think, act, and feel right now? Right? I would respond rather than react. All right? My old self would react, my new self would respond. So this is how I would think to myself after this situation. I would think to myself like, all right, like it's just a bad play. Like I'm not gonna let it phase me. And I need to realize that there's something good out of this. Okay? Because failure is the price of success. All right. And I just need to find the good. All right. And I take action in finding the good, transmuting, and then feeling that good. My future self would probably feel in a way where like, oh, like it's just a bad play. Like I know it's a really bad play, but I know I can make up for it 10 times more in the next play in the next couple seasons. You get what I'm saying? And I need you guys to understand that. And I need you guys to understand this too. You're you're never not going to never have a bad game. You're always going to have bad games. All right, some have more bad games than others, but you're never not going to have one. All the greats have bad games. Jordans have bad games. Curry's had bad games. Fucking Mahomes has bad games, right? Everybody has them. It's about what are you gonna do when it happens. It's not about what's gonna happen or when the bad game is gonna happen. It's who are you gonna be when it does. Right? I need you to ask yourself that. And true power is being great no matter what's happening outside of you. Right? If you allow the game to really dictate how you feel inside, are you really that great? Right? I'll leave you guys with that. All right? I'll see you guys in the next video.